My name is Ben Palmer, and I'm a conductor and composer based in London. I'm Chefdirigent of the Deutsche Philharmoniewerk in Darmstadt, and I work regularly with a number of German orchestras like the Württembergische Philharmonie Reutlingen and Heidelberger Symphoniker, Deutsches Filmorchester Babelsberg, and Deutsches Kammerorchester Berlin. I do a lot of film with orchestra projects where we show a movie on a big cinema screen in a concert hall and an orchestra plays the soundtrack live. That forms quite a big part of the work I do in Germany, as well as just standard classical concerts as well. In case you're interested, you can visit my website. It's benpalmer.net, and you can find me on social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at conductorben. Brexit, I'm sad to say, is already having a big impact on my life as a musician. It hasn't yet stopped me accepting any work or being able to do any work in the EU, but the two pieces of work that I've been able to do since the UK left the EU at the beginning of the year have been made immeasurably more complicated by Brexit. The first project was a concert in Latvia with Sinfonietta Riga, and for a while before the concert it looked as if it wouldn't be possible to fly direct from the UK to Latvia because of COVID restrictions, and so there was a suggestion that I could fly perhaps to Lithuania and then somehow travel to Latvia. Latvia, I didn't need a visa because I was there for less than 14 days, but in Lithuania to work I would need a visa, so if I were travelling to Lithuania only to travel into Latvia, would I still need a visa? No idea. There was also a time when it wasn't clear if I would have to quarantine in Latvia. In the end I didn't have to because we were given a cultural exemption, but nonetheless to have to think, okay, maybe I have to quarantine, and so that means maybe I need a visa. You know, it's all of these sorts of things that one never had to think about before. The big thing really for me is that before Brexit I could get a call. So for instance, the first time I worked with the Deutsches Filmorchester Babelsberg, I had a phone call from my agent, I think on the Monday perhaps, saying could I be in Berlin, I think on the Wednesday. And that was fine. I could book a flight for the next day. It was like booking a train ticket, just turn up at the airport, straight on the plane, no problem. It was quite complicated because I had to fly to Berlin for the rehearsals and then rush back for a concert in London and then fly to Munich for the concerts a couple of days later. And actually it was, there was quite a lot of snow, so I rebooked one of the flights, but it was so easy to do. When I did my most recent bit of work with my orchestra from Darmstadt, we did a live stream concert from Neu-Isenburg just outside Frankfurt, and it was so complicated. I had to take with me to the airport a folder with about 20 pieces of paper, so maybe half of it was to do with COVID things, but I also needed a letter of invitation from the Hessische Bundespolizei. I had my Vertrag, my contract, all this thing also with Fachkräfte, and had brought certificates with me to show that I was the sort of person that was necessary for this project to go ahead. And I think, I found it very, very sad having to have my passport stamped at Frankfurt, but really, fundamentally, what used to be so easy, all travel within the EU was so easy, is now not something that can be done at the last minute. It's not something that can be done easily. It costs time, and maybe not in the case of Germany, but for countries like Spain where one has to have an expensive visa, even for just 1 or 2 days work, it's extremely expensive. With regards to touring, I think we are not yet seeing the full impact of Brexit. Because of the pandemic, so few concerts are actually taking place. Lots of the work that I and my colleagues would normally have in the EU is simply not happening at the moment. And so I think when we get back to some kind of normality as regards to concerts, I think it's only then that we will see the full impact of Brexit. It will be the issues like the ones that I highlighted, where the travel is so complicated that it can't be organised at the last minute. I think the other fear that we all have as well, the British musicians, is that actually we simply won't be invited because it's so much hassle. I mean, the intendant, my boss in Germany, said to me already that were I not previously installed as chief conductor before Brexit, he wouldn't have engaged me as the chief conductor because it's just too complicated. And that is really tragic. I'm not really sure if there are many ways that people in the EU can really support British musicians at this time, because as we know, the situation is pretty self-inflicted, and we're really at the mercy of this British government that seems not really to have our interests at heart. They've said that they're doing everything they can to resolve the situation so that we can have frictionless, visa-free travel into the EU, but so far they haven't done anything, so who knows when or if that will be resolved. I suppose the thing I would ask really is that EU politicians and promoters, audiences, orchestras, everybody, please remember that for the vast majority of us in the music industry, this is not a situation that we wanted. It's not something that we voted for. It's not something that we're happy with. And if there were any way that we could change it, we would. So if there is a time when somehow the British government is able to reopen the negotiations with the EU about the situation with musicians, any support that we could receive from your side to be as open as possible to accommodating us would be much appreciated, because we miss at the moment working in the EU, but we also really fear that when we're able to work in the EU, because of when the pandemic situation is improved, that we won't be able to for political reasons, which having grown up as an EU citizen, and my little 2.5-year-old son who was born as an EU citizen is now not one, it's a really horrifying thought. We really hope more than anything that there will be a way that we can travel freely and work easily in the EU, and also we hope eventually to come back to the EU. But in the meantime, please just remember that this is not a situation that we wanted or that we're happy with.